I totally agree with Steve's comment about needing to watch these numbers. There are two elements to the claims data. One is the level, one is the trend. And the trend had been improving. So we need to see whether this is a 1 month blip or something shifting here trend-wise. 1 month doesn't make a trend, but we do know that we are entering a period where activity is being scaled back a little bit because of the virus numbers and the measures that officials need to take to contain it. So it's quite possible that you're actually over the next few weeks are going to see a deterioration in the initial claims number.
Hey, it's Leishman. I dropped accidentally.
Go ahead, Simone. I think Steve's mic was on. I didn't know what he said, but finish your thought.
Yeah, so what's a little tricky in my mind is I have to say I've been struggling with a very high number of initial claims. So the level has been a little difficult to understand when you compare that with improvements in other labor market indicators. So, and on the other hand, you see the big drop in the continuing claims number. And of course, some part of that more recently has to do with the fact that benefits are expiring for some people. But even when you look across the different programs, in aggregate, the signal is one of improvement. So I'm hoping that even though temporarily you might see a deterioration in the initial claims data, perhaps overall in the continuing claims data, that deterioration will be contained or even avoided.
So, Rick, I know you're still with us. You can opine on the numbers that we just saw, or I don't know what I guess it depends on what the surge in virus cases looks like. I just thought if I got the vaccine and I could still wear the mask, the next 30 or 44 days, I can't see myself, hiding in the basement, Rick. I don't hide in the basement now, so I might be wrong. But if you social distance and keep your mask on, we don't necessarily have to go back to where we were in March, do we?
Come on, Joe. That's way too logical. You're approaching this from too logical of a vantage point. Absolutely. Whatever people are doing now or whatever they feel comfortable doing, and individuals do have a brain. Governors aren't the only people that think they can think for themselves. But yes, after the vaccine comes, whether you get the 1 shot or the 2 shot, however it ultimately turns out, I think that we're going to have an upward trend. You take that first vaccine, you're going to try to stay safe, but I certainly don't think you're going to go and put the car in reverse. And what's more, look at the world that is being created. So China issues a 5, 10, and 15-year debt deal in Europe, denominated in euros. The 5-year tranche is the first negative debt they ever issued. We have $17 trillion now of negative debt. It keeps climbing. I understand we all need to be safe. We need to have government work with the people and try to come up with solutions on how to deal with this rising infection rate as the vaccine ultimately comes out. But there's so many moving parts here that we need to think about, and I certainly think that the wrong thing to do is lock yourself in the basement. Ultimately, we all need to come outside. The issue is how can we do it in the most safe manner and try to keep things moving along as best we can, because we do have a world on the other side of this that we'd like to salvage.
Yeah, Simona, do you think what we heard Steve talk about some forecasts for what the next GDP looks like? What's your forecast at this point? Is it going to be really disappointing?
It all depends on what you compare it with, right? If you're comparing with the third quarter, you're going to say, what's this? Barely any growth. So I think the good thing is that we are already halfway through the fourth quarter. So these restrictions that you're likely to see over the next few weeks have yet to really hit the real economy. And you're heading into a holiday season where by default, spending tends to be concentrated in during those weeks. So I think perhaps if things deteriorate, when you're really going to see the impact in terms of consumer spending will be Q1 versus right now, because, Thanksgiving's coming, Christmas is coming, New Year's. People are going to try to, bring some joy into their lives. And as you said, not just hunker down in the basement.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.